Welcome to the Soft Issues podcast. On this episode, we talk to Taylor Doyle, founder of the Ultra Distance Scholarship, Coach Alison, and this year's scholars.
Welcome to the Soft Issues podcast, team. This is I'm pretty excited about this one because we have 7 people in a room. So much so that we don't have any mics on each. So hopefully this is going to come out pretty well. But it'll be fine. Dude, do your magic, Ev.
I'll do magic. I'll try. Why don't we go around the room and introduce each person?
Idea. Okay, we'll go clockwise, starting from here. So who have we got here?
Okay, hello. I am Taylor Doyle. And yeah, I am the founder of the Ultra Distance Scholarship. Which is why we're here, and I started it in 2020, but now there's a whole team of people that make it happen, and that's it. Yeah, great. It's great.
My name's Tabs Del Mohammed. I was one of this year's recipients of the Ultra Distance Scholarship, one of 3, and yeah, just I thought coming here, I'd love to share what we went through, highs and lows, and everything in between.
Cool. Yeah. This is like Alcoholics Anonymous. So,
have you ever been to an AA?
Well,
I'm pretty sure they don't record it. Oh god.
Ultra Distance Anonymous.
That's what it is.
Probably, yeah. 10 years from now.
Names.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Jade. I don't know, I'm just a cyclist. Don't know what to say.
Is that your bio on Twitter as well?
Well, that's literally the name. Cyclist. So, yeah, like that road, like a bit of gravel, like a bit of bikepacking, a bit of ultra distance. Don't like races. That's it.
Purveyor of gourmet ultras.
Oh yeah, I like food as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that. Hi, I'm Alison Wood. I am the sports performance coach for the Ultra Distance Scholarship. Yeah, make it sound posh. Taylor brought me in for the first year, and so we're going into our 4th year. Just amazing. The team's growing, the scholarship's growing. Just been a brilliant roller coaster of a journey.
It's been 4 years.
Isn't that crazy?
It's mad, isn't it?
That's a long time, man.
Yeah.
4 years.
I mean, not at my age.
Time's relevant to how long we've been on the planet.
Hi guys, Pan-Celtic race survivor. Just like that. I guess in terms of Ultra Distance Anonymous, my name's Sean. One of the recipients of this year's Ultra Distance Scholarship. Yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I forgot to say that I'm also part of the 3.
just on cyclists.
We'll write it in the comments. Who do we want to grill first?
Who do we want to grill? Well, a lot of this is just about letting people know what the Ultra Distance Scholarship is all about, what the wonderful things that kind of happen, sharing some of the experiences you guys have had on the road, and all that kind of background stories and all the wonderful things that kind of happen along the way.
How were you involved in it?
How was I involved?
You're on the UBS team.
The dark arts.
From the beginning.
The wizard.
Yeah, so this is like the team, I guess, that kind of makes all the magic happen. So obviously I'm the bike fitter, so kind of help people find their right positions and so on. And Ev, you're working at Stayer. So.
I was working at Stayer at the time, and I probably built some of your wheels.
Oh, thanks.
Wait, are they all still... Yeah, those were my ones. Yeah.
So we've got all the recipients, we've got the coach, we've got the founder, we've got the wheel builder, the frame maker, the bike fitter.
Yeah, everyone else is superfluous.
All those sponsors, people giving you stuff, people helping you along the way. Yeah. But yeah, there's so much that's gone into this project, and it's so amazing to see it flourishing and seeing people kind of really thriving off it. Especially with you guys, like it was. I think it was a very successful year in terms of just getting riding done and everyone having fun, and we should share some stories from the roads. I don't know. Should we start with you, Taylor, and just tell us
how did it start?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, better question. Why? Why did it start?
Ooh. Yeah, it started. So I was working at a bike shop in central London called Cloud9, which is no longer, and it started in the summer of 2020 during the BLM movements across the globe, and it was a time when all communities were having their own conversations and like hard conversations about inclusivity in their respective areas, and my cycling community was having those conversations as well, it was I just wanted to do something with like the connections and like the situation that I had found myself in, which was one that was like really connected within like the cycling community in London and like the industry as well. And I felt like I honestly don't know where the idea of a scholarship came from. I don't
Somebody suggested to you.
No, I don't know. Like I remember being inspired by it's Radical Adventure Riders now.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing like sort of like bursary stuff, I think, at the time. I can't. It was I'm gonna butcher the name.
Doesn't matter, I can edit it.
Yeah.
It'll just be my voice over.
Well, I think it's important because it's named after somebody, and their last name is Brooks. It's like S.J. Brooks or something. Right, okay. But I don't know what the two letters are. Something Brooks Scholarship, and so I guess that's tangentially where it came from. But that scholarship like wasn't what the Ultra Distance Scholarship is at all. It was more of I think like a funding opportunity. Yeah. So I was like, I was also, just happened to be connected to the niche world of ultra distance, and we had just made sort of a partnership with the Pan Celtic race at the time, and I was like, hey, would you would you have somebody have a spot in your race, for this initiative, for this cause? And then it was like, well, I asked Wei, who was working downstairs in the bike fitting studio at the time at Cloud9. That's where his studio was before he moved here. And he was like, yeah, okay, like, let's do it. And then we had a bike builder as well, Billy Dye, who is Howler Frameworks, who has frames that we're looking at in this space right now. And he was like, yeah, we could totally like build something. So it's just lots of people saying yes. Yeah. And to be honest, I think it's a very easy yes when you're talking about inclusivity, and especially in a sport as white as cycling. So that's kind of how it started, and then people just kept saying yes every year, and then I said, okay, now you have to give us money.
Like, sounds like you put them at gunpoint.
Give me all your money.
Remember last year when you were drunk and
I accept Jura Ace.
Before we move on, I just want to say also that specifically with ultra distance riding for me was like such a life-changing experience that I also just wanted to share that with as many people as possible, and so that also comes with it is like a really like a wanting to share, and like a noticing of like a really like obvious noticing of specific groups that aren't having those experiences.
You're like, this is so much fun and I love the pain. I want to inflict it on as many people as possible. But it's it's good pain.
Secondary type fun, mate.
Yeah.
Is that how you explain it, Alison? Like when your coachees come to you?
Now this is going to hurt.
Yeah, I just put the numbers on their training plan and just wait for them to tell me the stories about the pain that I know they're gonna have. Yeah.
Tell you or start crying.
Yeah. Wait for the WhatsApp messages to come to me.
What the? Did you added an extra 0 to this?
Yeah, it is weird putting 11-hour rides on someone's training plan.
Yeah.
Well, Alison, you're going through the selection process right now on the committee.
Yes.
And like, I guess a huge part of that is like asking prospective scholars, like, why the heck do you want to do ultra?
Yeah, we do have to ask that, and to ensure that they understand what it is that they're saying yes they want to do. Yeah, very much a part
It's
of
the
the
kind of
process.
thing that no matter how well you explain it, you're kind of still in the back of your head. You're like, I'm not sure they've got this. I'm not sure they quite realise what they're getting themselves
We had
into.
considered showing photos of like Jenny Tuff's trench foot and things like that. But no, there might be too
It
far.
doesn't have to be like
No,
that.
it doesn't have to be like that.
Yes, you're right.
It doesn't have
Did
to.
you guys get shown the pictures? Like,
No, I saw it voluntarily.
Yeah, I think like
Or-
that's kind of before I even did this or signed up for it, watched the video because Friction Collective do such a good job. So shout out to Jack and obviously like Toby and all them do like such a good job at making such a fairy tale like ultra, and it just reels you in, and you're like, oh, this looks really nice. This looks really cool, and then you forget about the trench foot that you see and stuff. And by the way, that's actually like a legit thing. Like, yeah, if you saw my story, then you'd be like, ugh, it's not for me, mate. But yeah, I don't know. People have their own reasons why they want to do it. Everyone has their own stories of why they choose to do it or when they're going through it. So, yeah.
Did you guys? Was it kind of what you expected, or did it kind of shift as you went through that kind of process?
I knew that I was going to go through some form of like when things hit the fan. Like I knew that was going to happen. You just don't know what the thing is going to be. Like you could think it's going to be like on the videos. Like some people are like going to experience like bad moments because like their gears aren't shifting correctly and therefore they want to just not do it anymore. Or like you just decide to ride through a storm and it's like going through one of the hideous bits of the race, and like everyone has their own different like dark points, unfortunately, or like let's just say difficult points. So you know it's going to happen, but you don't know what it is, and like, yeah, you figure out what you're kind of made of when you're doing it, really, and then you decide what to do from there.
Yeah, you don't realise how big the peaks and troughs are. Sometimes you go through life just at a steady rate, and you might have a birthday and it's a high, and then go back to a steady rate. But when you're out on the road, with another individual by yourself or in the elements, it just goes up and down. So you see something and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing, and I love it here. And then within 2 seconds you're like, what the hell am I doing? I don't have any food, I'm cold, I'm wet, okay, I need some shelter, where am I going to find shelter, sort of thing. So yeah, it's those high peaks and troughs, but inevitably that's part of the story of for the individual, and as well as the whole collective as a whole.
It's funny you should say individual, because I felt like I didn't really have peaks and troughs. It was pretty stable throughout, and the things that I expected to be issues were like injuries or mechanicals or like extreme fatigue was actually not that bad. And I was maybe it was because I was going so slow. It was like a very, very casual food tour ultra distance situation. But it did pretty well. I felt good.
Did you want to experience
No,
low?
but I was ready for it.
Right, okay.
I was prepared.
Yeah, I think people have different motives of going into ultras. Like you don't have to like do like a pool is it Paul? I can't remember his surname is. That's really bad because he's like one of the like goats of like Pan-Celtic race. Paul Wainwright, that's it. Yeah. Like you don't have to do like a Paul Wainwright and like put yourself through. Well, no, Alex Boswell, to be honest, put yourself through an absolute hole. Like you just don't have to do that. So like everyone has different ways of doing ultras. You know, like some people take loads of food. and it works completely well for them, and some people just go with the flow. So there's no like one such way of doing it. Just do what you are familiar with and kind of experiment with it.
Yeah,
that's also kind of like the appeal as well, isn't it? Because it can be done in certain different ways. You know, it's not just a one size fits all.
You suit it to you yourself,
suit it to your type of riding, your type of what you want to make out of it. And I suppose what you watch on YouTube. It's a very very small selection of riders that do these ultras in a particular way or in a particular fashion, but the rest of the community at whole, they're doing it their way, which is pretty inspirational.
I definitely agree. Like I think what you see on social media or YouTube, wherever it is, when it's like ultra distance related, is not complete facade, but it's like they show you the really nice bits.
Well, it's just one story, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it's just one story, but it's like their experience will not be the same as what you will go through. There's like some bits that you can kind of relate to, but you kind of have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, so obviously with being the coach, and the mentors will probably say this as well when they've mentored multiple people, is ultra experience is as unique as each individual person. Everyone has their own ultra experience, and it affects them in their whatever they need it to have an effect on them. So you see people grow through the process.
Yeah, amazing. Is that kind of what was your kind of experience that you had with ultras that kind of really made you kind of or inspired this kind of scholarship? What like the kind of feeling that you kind of had, which was like this amazing experience and that you wanted to give? Well, tell us a bit more about that.
And was your first one a positive experience?
Yeah. Well, okay, so I actually realized now that I was saying this, that actually when the scholarship started and Vera and Nathan and Tamsin were training for the first year, I was also training for my first ultra. So I actually didn't know the magic of ultra yet. That was a lie.
Wow. This is just the first time you've admitted to this.
In my head I already had. But I had actually...
You were like, I've been through a lot, so...
Yeah. I had just toured a lot.
Right.
But I really wanted to try an ultra, and I was like, surely it's great. But yeah, so my first race was the first Pan-Celtic, and Vera and I were sort of like chasing each other throughout the whole thing. It was great. It was awesome. And ever since then, she told me that any race that's ever inflicted upon scholars, I have to also do. She was like, there's like that after that, like you have to. But to answer the question, it was an experience of it wildly varied peaks and troughs, but like it was like the feeling of like learning as an adult is like so rare, right? Like really learning. Like the kind of learning that you were doing like in school when you were a child and like learning about like the world. That's the kind of like base level like learning about yourself that you get in ultra. And then but the transferableness, big word, of those lessons are just so directly like applicable to life. That's what like got me. I was like, wow, I can do anything. Like my confidence was just upped, kind of no matter how I did in the race. It was just the fact that I got through it in the way that I needed to.
I just had a memory come up of when you wasn't returning my messages. It was because you disappeared out on your bike and you dropped your phone in a stream or something.
Oh yeah.
When you was in your training. That memory just come up. Yeah.
God, did you find it?
Oh no, it got smashed in the stream.
Oh man. truly
So you
in the
found,
its
it, but
own
you found
ultra.
the carcass.
Yes, very.
Sorry.
So what's the difference between touring
Mm.
and an ultra?
Mm.
Like, surely an ultra is just
Very good question.
touring for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something more?
There's more people watching you
I think
because you've got an actual tracker. Yeah, it's I guess with a tour, you're designing it yourself. You're designing the route. You're designing how far you go in the day, where you stop. Everything is within your control. With an ultra distance, there's so many things that are out of your control. You've got the time restraint. There's also the element of starting in a group of people. Like, you're all attempting this challenge, this huge challenge together. It just makes it really something special.
I think, to me, the difference between like an ultra and like a standard bike packing ride, so like, for example, it's not a thing, is that in an ultra, in my mind anyways, is that there's this element of competitiveness that you don't have to have when you're doing a bikepacking tour. For example, bikepacking tour, if I feel like doing like 200k and having a beer halfway through, cool, I'll do it. But during an ultra, if I want a beer, yeah, I will, but it's going to cost me about an hour. So like, there's always this element of like,
The clock's ticking.
yeah, the clock's ticking. Like, when you go to toilet, it needs to be efficient. Like, when you're just sitting down, it needs to be efficient. Like, no matter what you do, everything has to be all about efficiencies.
Is that in his training plan?
Well, technically, it actually was, because you sent me a 10-hour training ride in March or so, and it was
Ultra tour.
It's turning into
200k in 10 hours, which doesn't seem that bad. But when you think about it, when it comes to like, you're going to stop at a petrol station, that's like 10 minutes done. And like, obviously, I decided to take it to the extreme and pick the hideous one that I had. Just because like, I was like, what's the point of doing like a flat 200? Like, do that anyways, like with our rides.
Yeah.
So I decided to go to Chilton's, and I was like, yeah, I was kind of fine. It was hard, but it was helpful. And I think that's like one of those things, with bikepacking, you kind of just do it with your mates and you're just having a good time and enjoying it. And you can with ultras, but yeah, you don't have that competitive element that I think is innate in no matter who the person is. You know, whether you're at the back of the race, whether you're at the front, you know, the sole aim is to finish it. Whereas a bikepacking trip, like, if you want to just get a train, all right, go get your train then. You know.
So maybe it's got more in a weird way, it's got more in common with like TTing than it does with it. Like, you know, you're not competing necessarily with other people who are doing it.
Yeah.
But you're competing with yourself.
Well, yeah, there's like
You're
there's all sorts of factors to it. Like, there are different types of races that make you plot your own route. So obviously, a lost stop.
Points now.
You know, where they make you plot your own route, and then the element, as I said before, of the competitiveness will basically make you decide how you're going to build your route. It's going to be really hilly, you're going to be influenced by wind direction and stuff like that, and obviously, like, I'm not that, you know, but like, you know, those kind of factors come into your mind, and it could just be to do with like you just trying to get there as quickly as possible in your own personal terms, as opposed to trying to beat the person next to you. Like, it doesn't have to be like a race where you're trying to make someone else suffer. It's just you're making yourself suffer, really. But yeah,
just like a TT.
yeah.
But it is literally a
It's like
long distance time
Yeah.
trial.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to get there as quickly as you can.
And then
under
there's
your
the
own
self-supported element as well.
speed. Yeah.
Um,
Just throwing more.
Yeah, there's
more
all
things
sorts
at
of
you.
different difficult terms and stuff in terms of like you have to be self-reliant in yourself, like fixing your bike and stuff, and the different races are have different thresholds of that. So like, you know, you can get support from like one of your like co-racers or whatever it is in like Pan Celtic race technically, if you're like not in probably like the top 20, because to Mali, like, what's the point of kind of making people who are like, you know, in the middle or the back like suffer even more than they need to when they're just trying to get by. You know, whereas on the opposite scale, other races, you know, if you like get support from someone else, then, you know, to the T, you're out.
Yeah, I think with it builds resilience. You know, you're in an arena where, you know, there are so many unknowns. There can be some knowns because, you know, you're a confident rider, you're competent, you know, you've kind of done a few mechanical you know, workshops, you understand the bike, but, you know, you're almost challenging yourself at every given point. Now, it doesn't have to be that you're going through 24 hours of not eating and sleeping, but it's making that hill. Whereas with touring, it's, you know what, I don't fancy that hill.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop and have a little bit of a rest. And that's fine. That's okay. You could do that. You probably could do that in an ultra as well. And it's that, you know, you can do that in an ultra as well. But it's that element of building your resilience, you know, from every obstacle you face. It's building that character that you have. And I think for me, that's the difference between what I've done in touring and what we experienced in the Pan-Celtic.
Yeah. What do you think, Jade?
I'm confused because I don't think I have much experience bike touring. I don't think I've done. I don't know what I've done.
Would the Pennine Rally count?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a bike packing?
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely,
okay.
yes.
Okay, cool.
You loved that, didn't you?
She just did an ultra bike packing tour in terms of the
I know.
Pennine
Are you
Rally.
like sitting there like, is there a difference?
Yes.
For me, there's
What is
not.
the
You like
difference?
the
So
same.
I understand like the competitive side of things in terms of always checking your time. And even if I'm not riding competitively, I did feel like I was checking the time all the time. But I was also checking the time all the time in the Pennine Rally because the sun was going to set. And then I'd be like pitch black, nowhere, land. That would be pretty scary. But yeah, I think I don't have enough experience doing bike pack touring to know exactly what the difference is between ultra and bikepacking at the moment because it feels very blurred. Yeah.
I guess in some ways, like doing the events, like a lot of what I get from you guys is this, just kind of throwing a challenge at yourself and seeing kind of how you react. You kind of don't really know how you're going to react or what's going to be important to you until you actually go and do it.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in training. There's no feeling like when you're actually in the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to work harder on that. We've learnt so much over the past 4 years, and you know we always try to take the learning from each year into the next one. But yeah, it's so hard to simulate that. I know from my own training and racing, like, there's nothing I could do in training that would simulate what it's like when you're standing on the start line.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going to start lines and just keep being in that uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
I think, I definitely agree because like my experience throughout the year in terms of training wise, like going ahead and doing like 6 hours ride or whatever it is, that's all good. But the area that I didn't really kind of pick up on was the skill of wild camping. So like, like doing like a 10-hour or 11-hour ride and then learning actually how to stealth wild camp is an important skill, and I didn't do that until the actual first day of Pan-Celtic race where I was riding for about 250k and I was like, oh, I need to use my bivvy now, so where am I going to bivvy? And I just kept on moving past like different locations that were like, this looks alright, but it's like kind of sunset, and sunset there was like 11 o'clock in the evening, so I was like, I don't feel tired, I just need to, and I think it comes with experience. So at least now, if I don't feel tired and I know where to bivvy, you can go for another hour or two. But in your first ultra and you haven't wild camped, you're going to be quite cautious, so you're probably going to stop earlier, and that's what happened. So I think just in training wise, for anyone who's listening, I know it's illegal in the UK or in England, but learn how to wild camp because you're going to have to do it at some
Is
a
having
point.
nap illegal?
No.
Come on.
It's the whole concept of wild camping and stuff. Yeah, it's just,
I know.
But yeah, just learning how
Prove
to.
it first.
Yeah, just wild camping. Don't tell my department that I'm wild camped.
But this is, I think this is part of the beauty of like kind of these challenges that you throw at yourself, and kind of some of the experience that I think you, Taylor, were trying to kind of get across is that you kind of you can't prepare for it. There is no way that you can experience it until you experience it. And so you kind of want to, as you said, like when you're a kid, like you just expose yourself to everything and you just absorb it and learn from it. And so we kind of get out of that habit. We we want that kind of nice steady pace, that certainty within our kind of usual lives. But there is always this, or certainly for me anyway, there's this underlying itch to kind of just do something crazy, like just throw myself out there and just see what happens. Like, do I have what it takes, or am I just going to throw all the toys out the pram? And what happens when I forget my bivvy, and I've got to figure out
it's about finding limits, isn't it? And it's one of those things, like in any elite level, whether it's sport or anything, it's all about finding limits and then realizing that what you thought was your limit was not your limit. The difference is you can't train, like you said, you can't train for that. You find out when you're on it.
Yeah.
You find out when you're in the middle of nowhere, shattered.
And your air mattress is exploded.
I think that there is it's something that you can do. It's what Tabs mentioned earlier about the resilience, is that you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the skills translate out of ultracycling into the rest of your life, is that you've learned that, you can survive when you're at your limits and you've found resourcefulness and you've got through it, that actually you can get comfortable with being in those uncomfortable situations
and have faith that you will get through it.
It's all about jumping out in the deep end and
Running in sandals.
Tell us about the sandals.
He's been itching for this moment.
So I'm trying to think, because it's all like when things hit the fan, it happened within like a day and a half of just everything going wrong. One of the issues was just that my feet and my knees were just not happy with doing long distances. And I was really surprised because like usually like I could just, in training I'd already done like 3 days in a row and stuff. I didn't really find a problem. It just decided to crop up at the time. And it got so bad that I was like, you know what, I'm sacking off my shoes. I'm just going to use sandals. So a lot of people were quite confused on me on social media, like, what are you doing?
Did you have flat pedals or?
So basically I continued riding and then found a decathlon, took off my pedals, bought flat pedals that had one-sided SPDs just in case I felt like just riding in normal ones, and then just bought sandals because at the Morton, because he had knee issues, and I was like, that'll work, and it did. And it was in like torrential rain trying to get to checkpoint, and it was just like, you know what, I tell you what, pro tips definitely, just bring a pair of sandals, because like to get air to your feet, it did an unbelievable, like literally, it's one of the best feelings in the world, but don't use it for too long. So sandals.
Problem solving.
Prevents trench foot.
Yeah, it actually does. Genuinely, it did prevent trench foot.
With
like,
socks on or no socks?
No socks on. I just fully just left them like cheesed
if you'd
out.
have worn socks, you would have been proper 60s touring.
I'll be honest, like literally when you're in Brittany, there's no one around, so no one's going to judge you anyways.
There's lots of cyclists out there doing that, so you wouldn't look out of place.
Yeah.
You start to feel conscious once you get back into the UK and everything seems a bit...
I was fuming though, 'cause I lost my sandals on like day 5 in a bag that had so many important things.
Is there anything you didn't lose?
Everything was in that bag.
Wow.
Like literally sandals, my seeing glasses, battery pack that actually was happy to be charged by a dynamo. So I didn't have any phone basically. It kept on flickering between like 2% for a dynamo for like the worst bit of the long course.
And you couldn't see where you're going.
Pretty much. So Toby, if you're hearing this, because he probably will, you're evil, because the route that you plotted, as much as it's really nice, you're evil, and he knows this because he'll laugh at this. Anyways.
It's a lovely
I forgot about all that gravel.
The gravel was fine. It was just like, I think on the long route, there was like a really sadistic bit that Toby plotted that was just like pure, like up and down Cornwall-esque like climbs that on the short route you didn't get. And it made it into like a massive slog, and that's when everything went wrong. So like no phone, no music, and obviously it's like a Gen Z problem, but like no music, nobody around, eating stale baguettes basically.
Question for you though.
Yeah.
And I know the answer.
Yeah.
Did you want to quit?
Yeah, of course, obviously, because I gave you a phone call.
I was like, I'm quitting. I was like, by the time it was like day 5, I think it was day 5 when I had about 60k to go, because I didn't have any seeing glasses. I could have made it to the ferry that night if I had seeing glasses, and I had tried because I literally had attempted to do so with no glasses on for an hour straight.
You only had prescription, or sorry,
I had sunglasses
just so
on.
people don't think
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
just like.
yeah. So like, I was riding through
I'll
the night.
head this direction.
And I tried it on one of the nights, like literally just trying to get to this location, and obviously because I remember going past the car and it was pitch black dark, and I was like, nah, let's be sensible here, let's rein it in, like it's not worth it. You know what I mean? I'm already like 90th place, no one cares. It's just like, what's the point? So like loads of things went wrong in like the space of a day and a half, and like you figure out your personality changes or whatever it is, and that's okay. You've just got to figure out,
I'm sure there's hundreds of stories. I've definitely made the I'm giving up phone call.
I called multiple people that day. I called you, called Aston, called me. Had a phone call with Mally, had a phone call with Toby, girlfriend as well. Yeah, a lot of people were pretty concerned for me that day. And it was probably make some absolute Hollywood film for Toby, because I'm pretty sure they're probably voice recording it whilst I was calling them. I wouldn't be surprised.
We'll play that clip.
I won't be surprised. But
I'll get to ransom later.
It was dark days, mate.
What were you calling them for? Were you calling them to say, I've decided I'm going to quit and support me? Or were you just trying to get egged on to carry on?
It's half and half. Like, one part of me had done so much of the course already. It was basically like 1,400 kilometres in, so I was like, okay, it's a slog now, but you kind of need there. And I already like gone through so much crap that I was like, I don't need to prove to anyone that I can do an ultra. I've done 1,400 kilometres. Like, I've got to the ferry, no problem. I'd already gone through so much crap. And I just wanted to throw the towel in. But then obviously, like, when you have a phone call with someone like Aston, as an example, I think he was the guy I'm going to attribute, I reckon, probably, to actually, like, reining me back in. And I think I needed that from just someone just, like, call me out and be like, look, you've done all this, like, what are you doing? It's about 800k to go. Grow up. And, like, Aston really reined it in on me. He was like, I'm not letting you not finish. Like, you've got to finish. And like just gave me that mathematical statistical sense, saying that you've only got 700k to go. So like
you've already done double that.
Yeah, just get yourself to the finish line, and that's what I did. Once I was back on familiar, I thought it was actually all right. So there
you go. That kind of inner voice inside you. You just don't know. I guess you don't know when it's going to come out and what it's going to say, but when it does, it's great to have that support around you.
Yeah, just don't lose your glasses.
Yeah. That's the best advice. Like, if you're going to do an ultra,
keep them close.
Yeah, just don't lose your glasses.
Everyone worries about ultra with the physical challenge that it kind of looks like it is, but it's the mental challenge. It's definitely that's what gets you over the finish line.
I was going to ask Alison what it's like for you during the race.
Oh my God.
When your athletes are out there, and especially when they're having a hard time.
Yeah, no, it's awful. Yeah, every minute, especially.
You're not just sitting in your living room sipping wine, just like. I told them it was going to be like.
Yeah, because this time I was actually out there as well. I was riding as well. So yeah, it was like I had to like make the choice. I can't spend all my time worrying like I normally do, just sitting there on WhatsApp trying to send messages. I've actually got to do some cycling myself. So yeah, no, it is horrible. Yeah. Yeah.
Type 2 fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, how do you know when to stop?
What, after the ride or just during?
No,
the ride?
when how do you know if like where's the point where where somebody has to turn around and say you're going to do yourself a long-term injury if you carry on? You are right safety. And how do you communicate that to the riders to basically get them to understand that there's a point where you don't have to be brave. It's not macho.
Like, you
It's
shouldn't be
I guess-
egg
like-
on.
yeah.
Yeah,
like-
no, I guess this is the unseen side of the coaching is that you have to, the person has to make the decision themselves. So you can give advice, you can let them reflect on you, but they have to be happy with their decision. So I can't say to them, it's not safe for you to ride, you need to scratch now, because that'll just play on them for forever.
Because if you know that the voice inside somebody's head is going,
Yeah.
stop pedaling, stop, get off the bike.
Yeah. And
That's
then there's
one of the most powerful.
the other side of them saying, oh, if you scratch, somebody's going to say this about you, or you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And so you've got to manage all of those different thoughts that are going to
Aston
come.
said that to me, man.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life if you don't finish.
It's a
But-
balance based on
Obviously, that's like-
personality.
He wasn't the only person you were talking to.
No,
which
of
is good.
course. That wasn't exact words, but he was like, you're pretty much going to regret not finishing if you don't finish. You're
But
already...
it should be a question rather than a statement. It's
Yeah.
like, would you regret this if you
Or it
stop?
could
Have
be
I
like-
dobbed Aston in now? Is he in trouble?
Yeah, I need to have words.
Or it could be like, of
Well, he
course,
made me
you're gonna,
finish, so,
of course you're going to regret it, but
Yeah.
how long are you going to regret it for?
Yeah.
And then you're going to realise, oh, actually, you know what? Live to fight another day.
Yeah. I think,
At
like,
least I didn't do myself a
yeah,
injury.
I think in my circumstance, I probably put the whole team through like an absolute like washing machine. My circumstances, and that's like it happened. I think people will say like you should stop, but I think I agree with you. It's kind of got to be the person to stop when they can, because uncontroversial, controversial. I think most people probably have an extra 10% in them that they don't realise. It's just that you got to kind of figure out when it is and where you can use it, and you're the only person that actually knows. People can see it from the outside, but the person who's actually riding the bike actually knows where they're at.
I've actually received that phone call a lot from multiple different people, like that I'm about to scratch, like I'm on the edge, Taylor, kind of phone call. I've had that a few times, and I remember one friend in particular calling in. It was like it was late. It was like the night, and I was like, "I'm sorry, but first rule of ultra, you're not allowed to scratch at night. Like, are you kidding me?"
You said that to me as well.
Yeah, I did say that to you, and I was and she was like, literally like in full sort of like toddler mode, like just needed to like whine to somebody, and she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "You're not allowed. I'm telling you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, go to bed. Go to sleep,
No, it makes more
and
sense.
call me in the morning."
Makes way more
Like,
sense. Watch the sunrise,
Oh.
and if you still feel the same way,
Yeah,
fine.
Did you think I was going to scratch when I called you?
I really didn't know.
Hmm.
I think I was worried about you if you did.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I assumed it meant something to you.
Obviously.
Oh wow.
But then it's not an all or nothing approach either. You can take a different approach, which is what we kind of did on, I think, got to checkpoint 1, messaged you and thinking that, I don't know if I can carry on the long route or should I switch to the short route. It was a conversation that I had with multiple people.
And just clarify, what's the difference between the long and the short route?
Oh my god.
So what he was explaining, we cut out.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, okay? You would have seen worse from me if I'd done it.
The short route is not short.
Like
No,
distance,
it's not short.
distance
We-
wise.
We
1,700
We've run out of
kilometres.
time.
yeah.
The long
I
route
had
as
run
well.
out of time anyway.
2,200k, I think.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's like that's not a short route.
No, we just cut out
Short
probably the
term.
most extreme part of what you.
It was just not.
we cut
yeah.
that part out. But it was making that decision, taking ego out of it, and asking. I know. I've made a lot of phone calls that evening while I got to checkpoint 1, very tired but grateful. Saw some familiar faces and managed to just kind of put everything down and just a little bit. And then it wasn't until the morning where kind of sitting on the bike or just before getting on the bike, it was like, okay, it's going to be short, and messaged the organisers and said that I'm switching to the short. Did I feel any less of a ultra rider? No. No, because I knew that that was the decision I was making for myself. Whilst, you know, a lot of people are watching it through dot watchers and organisers and friends and family, this was ultimately how I could carry on my way. And in that way, it wasn't an either all or nothing approach. It was kind of like that middle approach. Doesn't always it doesn't always help with it. Everyone doesn't always happen with everyone. But for myself, it was I could find that middle approach.
And this was your first.
Took it. Yeah, it was
first one.
First ever one.
So no one's going to begrudge you.
Yeah.
Now,
It's still even just doing the section in France was the longest that any of them had ever ridden before. So yeah, that's a win in my book. Yeah, didn't need to go any further.
But on the second one,
transcontinental. Let's go.
Well, kind of like you've got all that experience, you've built up all that, you know a lot more about your body, you know a lot more about what you're capable of, and you know you've moved your limit bar from there to there. It's just a matter of course, really. All we've got to do is keep pedaling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, you can always learn about yourself and your body and your mental state just by doing different things. And I think, you know, the Pan-Celtic race, or just my very first ultra, you know, probably once I got into Wales, I learned a lot about myself. I was able to work through a lot that I hadn't worked through in many years. I'd lost my ultra partner. That was
Really well.
I had to force myself to kind of, okay, now you're solo. You've got to work through these things.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, whenever I am, you know, just in day-to-day life, there are flashbacks of that ultra. It's like, okay, I got through that. So you know what? I can deal with my 30-year-old son having a hissy fit. You know, I can deal with that. You know,
I can just imagine him looking there, shouting at him. You know what I've been through.
I'm definitely going to say that when I'm like 50 years old. Just me, Timmy. Yeah. Back in my day, I had to ride a bike 1,500
You already
kilometers.
decided on the name.
Yeah, Timmy. But no.
What did your kids and wife think of this? So
Oh,
you've
wow.
got 4 kids, like Tabs.
Yeah, it was really emotional when I say eventually got home, because I will never. I would rather do an ultra than try to do that journey again. I kid you not. I had to, from Wales, I had to change trains 5 times. Got to Birmingham, missed the last train, and had to wait for a cab, and had to fight with the cab office or the guys at the station, saying to them that I am not going to dismantle my bike. I do not have any tools with me. You're taking my bike as is, so I need a bigger van. 2.5 hours later, managed to get a Mercedes van to fit the bike in, and then it was a case.
Did you explain to them what you'd just done?
And
did they have any sympathy for you?
People don't get it, do they?
I mean, they saw the bike, so they saw the bike,
Yeah.
they saw the state of the bike, so they knew that this guy is, you know, and probably the state of me. I look like. I look back at the pictures. I took a selfie on my phone on the train back, and I was like, "Oh my god, did I look like?" No wonder people were looking at me at the shop in a really odd way, because I just looked a state. But
there should be like a badge or something. Stay away from it.
So
I've just like have like a little like some little movable thing that says this is how many kilometres I've ridden.
Be nice to me.
But
This is how many nights I've slept in the rain.
Yeah.
No, getting home was really emotional, and I managed to get home quite really early in the morning, and severely famished.
Yeah.
It's the first time at I think 5 o'clock in the morning that I had rice and chicken, because I was starving and toast wasn't going to cut it. I'd had too much bread in France. It was time for some proper food. But
were they all there? I just imagine like
no,
you
the
were
kids
coming
started
down
to wake up for
Oh right,
school.
okay, they weren't even there. I was imagining like
know,
you coming down the driveway and the lights turning on one by one, and they're all just like there.
No.
all in their
Everyone
best
was asleep.
clothes.
I had to call the missus and say, you know what, can you let me in because I can't find my keys. She wasn't happy. She was not happy.
It doesn't matter what you've done.
But
get home
you know,
and
credit
you're
to her, there was a smile on her face when she saw me. You know, credit to her.
smile, or she wouldn't just laugh at you.
Yeah. But no, the kids were really like, massive congratulations and big hugs and big kisses.
Do any of them ride bikes?
They all know how to ride a bike. They all refuse to ride a bike.
Now that you've done that, they're like, I'm definitely not riding it.
Yeah.
Until one day, one of them
until
comes
one
to you and
day.
goes, "Hey, so I watched this YouTube documentary, and
You were in it.
it was,
Crying in the corner.
it was from back in YouTube 2.3 or whatever."
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be at the Kendal Mountain Festival.
Yeah, so I was contacted by the Kendal Mountain Festival to come and speak on one of their panels representing the Ultra Distance Scholarship. I did think that it was a wind up when I got the message, and I was like, I've never heard of these guys before. I'm like, okay, yeah, which is really poor, which is really like, who am I? So I had to Google them first of all. No, because you get all sorts on Instagram. Oh, do you want to be part of this? And normally my instinctive response is delete.
Block reports.
Thankfully, I didn't delete it straight away. I actually Googled them, and I was like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. And then a bit of back and forth, and it's
Nice.
in November. That's where I'll
It's going to be cold in Kendal as well.
Yeah.
Make sure you pack that Zoe jacket, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long johns and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if people want to come and see you, then
Yes.
What
yes.
date? What date's it?
The 16th of November. So it's Thursday, the 16th of November.
Venue is.
Sorry.
The venue.
The venue is at Kendal Leisure Centre, if I'm not mistaken. It's an amazing panel of individuals, and if you'd asked me last year, would I be sitting, with some really inspirational people, I would have told you to on your bike, pun intended. But no, I'm really grateful for just being included in the family, which is called the Ultra Distance Scholarship. But I truly see it as a family now. There's a lot of confidence that have come from my experience that I would say to everyone listening and everyone thinking about. They've missed the deadline for this year, but definitely if you want to find a community where you want to belong and to find some really inspirational people within ultra cycling and the community, just join the Ultra Distance Scholarship. Just do it. Join the Instagram page first, though.
Nice.
We'll put a link
Nice
in the bio. What happens to these guys now? Cheer them up, spit them out.
Drop mic.
It's like,
Listen to the wild.
how Spartans, they kind of just let their kids go off into the wild. Like that's kind of obviously it's not
We've done our work. Off we go.
off you pop, do your own thing. Nah.
And then do you guys have plans to then
Do your own thing. Yeah.
fly hold the torch for getting other people into it? You've got any plans to start your own?
So Tabs, I think you're going to be am I allowed to say? Yeah, Tabs, you're a mentor right now.
Yeah, I'll be one of the mentors for next year's this year's cohort.
And then I've got some plans in my head for next year, on like an individual scale in terms of like what races I want to do. I've not been put off by doing ultras. I just want to do them on my own terms. So I want to do Convoyage. Is it Convoyage or Convoy?
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
feeling like slightly more warm, but obviously in May, like that one's still going to be quite cold.
Mm-hmm. Could be, but you never know.
Yeah, this year it was quite stormy.
Oh, right.
I want to do that one.
Where is that one?
Catalonia, Spain.
Oh, okay. I've been there.
Yeah, it's quite stabby.
But it's a nice looking place.
Yeah. I was there. I was in Girona like literally like 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and I was sold by it. I was like, I might as well just do an ultra here. And then I want to do Badlands as well, potentially, if I've got the time. So 2, hopefully, if I can even get entry to Badlands, because you know how popular it is now. But
yeah, do that and then do some bikepacking tours with my mates, get some beers in, and just enjoy the year. Really, that's my plan. Really. So, yeah.
And Jade, you had some interesting choices to make on the ultra distance, well, on the Pan Celtic as well, didn't you? Because you had a phone call just before. It started, so, like throwing more curveballs into it. Right.
So yeah, before the start of the ride, but maybe a week or two ago, I got an email saying that I was invited to an interview for a PhD, and the interview were like 5 PIs, which are like the managers of labs in academia. And it was on the 19th of July, I think it was, which is, for me, very close to the race itself. And I was like, is it possible to not be on this particular day? Maybe like a week or so, further into July. And they're like, no, because all of these people need to be there, and this is like literally the only time that they could do before they get out for summer. So I was like, okay, fine. I don't know what to do about this, but I'll just do ride. And so then when I started riding, I thought I'd be faster than I was, and I wasn't. And I kind of knew that by like the third day that I was going to ride 200 to 250 kilometers a day. It was around 100 miles a day at this point, and I knew that I probably wouldn't make it all the way to Wales in terms of time. And so I kind of was like, if I get to Portsmouth, that's a really good time to go home, and then I'd have time to like prepare for my interview and stuff.
So you had to how many, 3 days to just come up with a PhD interview.
Yeah, I had to make a presentation about what I've done, and I hadn't even done any. So in some pictures, you can see on my bike on the front rack, there's a bunch of papers.
You were literally writing your.
Literally reading these papers. And I was meant to put it in Taz's bag so that it could be taken to Wales, but instead I forgot, and so I just I didn't read it out at all during the ride, but I read it in the ferry. And then so that would be a week after the end of my ride, but then maybe a few days after I ended my ride, I got married.
I didn't know
that. So that's also why I had to stop riding, because I was too slow, didn't make my own deadlines, had to get married, and had to do an interview. So here I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I remember telling Tabs, and he was like, oh, I didn't even think about telling Tabs actually. I was just in my own head. I wouldn't really think about it. I just thought I'm going to finish it in Portsmouth.
You look so good.
And then we were sitting in this motor air place.
Yeah.
Like one of those campsite things that are not campsites for tents, it's for motorhomes in France that are, I think, free. We just wanted to get some to eat our lunch that we bought. And then we were talking about how tanned we were. And you were had all these lines.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm making extra effort to not get that sunglass tan on my face. And it's because I'm getting married next week.
So I'm merrily eating away, and I'm like, what? Married?
Oh my gosh.
I also remember coming back from Pennine Rally, and my face was wrecked. The spots all over my forehead. Oh. 2 sharp lines down my displaced temple. And when I got off the train in, I think it was Paddington or Euston or something like that, she was like, "You look so bad." I was like, "Yes, I need an ice cream." So I got ice cream. But then when I came back from Pan Celtic, he was like, "You look so good. You look better than you did when you came back from the Pennine Rally." Like, yeah, I feel it.
I'll marry you.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god. You had like the ultimate like when ultra and just like the reality of real life collide.
Yeah.
I think there was another couple actually that did pang. So I remember on the first day going past like a whole bunch of people, and there was these two people doing this pair, and then they were just telling me about how they were literally running to their wedding whilst doing Pankoti race. So the wedding was in Llandudno.
Oh, that's
I think it was in Llandudno.
So they were heading there.
Yeah,
Wow.
so literally they were just riding there. Which
That's
is
sweet. At least
insane.
there's
Insane.
pair of them together.
Yeah, I was like, oh my
Wow.
god. Obviously, I never saw them again after that. But, yeah.
Do you know what happened
Why
to
did you
them?
choose
Yeah,
that
I
as
think-
your
yeah, I
wedding
think so.
day?
Because I don't really care about my wedding.
Wow.
So the wedding bit, I don't really.
I'll leave that bit out, man.
It's alright. I
Let's
just
get it on
don't. Look, I don't
Instagram.
even have it. Doesn't matter. It was
So
more
I-
the interview that really.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
If I make plans for something, I'm like, I'm doing nothing else until that thing. That's an important date, right? I'm going to leave at least 3 weeks before that.
No,
That was the race.
I had to put like
Just
buffer
proves
annual leave.
what you can
Yeah.
do, that's
Well, I
right.
was like, I'm not
Prior,
saying
like we're going on
Priorities.
holiday, and like, I would say to Jen all the time, I'm like, if we're going on holiday, if we're flying, I am not working the day before we fly because
I
I'm going to be
understand that.
shattered,
I
right?
I don't know about that, and I'm doing that. Maximise your annual leave.
Boundaries.
All the way into, and then get on a plane.
Yeah.
Can't
No,
do
because,
that.
oh,
I'm old.
I don't
I need to decompress. And then when I get back,
Wiggle mouse, mate.
you,
The decompression time expands as you get older.
yeah,
most
you
definitely.
realise you want to be away from other people for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Taylor, you had your hand raised.
I do, because I want to circle back to when you asked about like what happens after the scholarship,
Yeah.
because I think it's a really important question, and it's one that like, the UDS team have been talking about as well. I mean, like from the beginning, we've always wanted to be able to continue supporting
Yeah.
scholars after the race is over, because I think, I mean, you guys could talk to this much better than I could, but like I'm sure that there's like a come down after the scholarship ends and after the race ends. So, I mean, for like any athlete that's been training for one thing for an entire year, it's a really intense experience, and like I find it quite emotional. I won't speak for other people, but I find it incredibly emotional, and I just like couldn't imagine with like the layer of what the scholarship is on top of that, like all of that sort of like reflection and decompressing afterwards must just be really intense.
Is there a like a meeting, like a post race get together?
As a
apart
coach,
from just
as a coach, I do a debriefing,
right.
and that's quite a relaxed and personal chat. But
How deep do you go?
Oh,
Tell me, what were your visions?
as deep as they want to go. Yeah, yeah, just whatever they need to get off their chest, and
we gather really valuable feedback as well after it's finished, which is just like incredibly helpful, but also something that I mean really it's just like the financial state of the scholarship is like, it would be great to continue to support, because they've got all the stuff now, right? To continue supporting them with like, event entry and stuff. And we have had scholars who've been through the program kind of like come back and pitch to us like the following year, like, look, I want to do this thing, I can't afford it. Is there any way
Funding
that the scholarship could
becomes a
be
thing, right.
involved in? And we have done some small bits there, but we don't have anything like official going on, because it's just at the moment being built into the scholarship in the way that it runs, and obviously we only have finite resources and funding as well.
Well, reflected on that as well is, like you said, the scholarship is something that's never been done before. So we've just been learning year by year, and it's just been growing and developing and self-creating as we've gone along. So all these things we're kind of seeing that, we need to include this, we need to include that, and what else can we do here? And
So-
it's just building year on year.
Is there a really obvious example of something that you've like, okay, we're not doing that again, or we're definitely going to do this again?
The sports psychologists come up. So that's been kind of trickling through from the first year, when we're kind of trying different things on how we can approach that.
Yeah, so we've also, this year, which is confirmed, we're building in like a mindfulness aspect of it, with like, an awesome person.
Cool.
Who will facilitate like these regular mindfulness sessions. And then as Coach Ali just said, Vera worked with a sports psychologist in the first year who independently reached out to her because she was in the middle of her schooling, and the feedback from that was only positive. The feedback that we got this year was around sort of mental health. It's exciting. It's
really
just
awesome.
it's just exponentially sort of growing and becoming more robust and strong.
Cool. Sadly, we're kind of running out of time, but that seems like a really good place to kind of wrap it up. But if people want to find out a little bit more about the Ultra Distance Scholarship, where can we find out stuff? Website?
ultradistancescholarship.com
Easy enough to
and
remember.
Ultra Distance Scholarship on Instagram. So.
Cool.
And Tabs' Instagram account, which is probably exploding, isn't it?
I wouldn't
Have your
say
kids
so.
unfollowed you yet?
Yeah.
We've gone to that point where like, no, okay,
No,
I
they're
can't deal
still
with
at the
this.
stalking stage.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I
And
like the
Coach-
healthy Kardashians.
Coach, how can people find Coach?
Oh yeah, I think it's Veloci _ cycling _ coaching, maybe.
Do you want me to check?
Definitely, look up Veloci, which is VELOQI.
We'll write it in the
There's no
description.
other account with that name. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and if anyone's got any questions about it, please do send us your questions. Always an open forum. Like, these guys are awesome, really open. So, there's no such thing as a silly question. So,
No,
please
definitely.
do. But thank you all for coming in. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
It's all good.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having us.
Enough about butts. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do this whilst we're eating pizza.
Thanks for the pizza way. This time.
Just
Just make sure there are pizzas next time.
Don't forget the pizza cutter. Yeah, not
Not a box cutter this time. That was
The Stanley knife was.
That's resourceful.
surprised he's got all his fingers still.
Yeah.